Good afternoon, and wanted to welcome you guys to our live chat. I am recording this. I have very little to cover today, but I will go ahead and talk mainly about the projects that you guys are working on. In class tonight, I will cover chapters 5 and 6. And pay close attention to that. I am going to upload a couple documents to Learning Hub. One is a PDF example of how to calculate the lifetime value of a customer, and it will walk you through the process. And then I will have the class tonight work through an example of a grocery store. So I'll upload that worksheet as well, just so that you have it. It's not an assignment that you're turning in, but it is something that we will do in class tonight. And then I will be talking about the business philosophy, the part that is due tonight, and start talking about the Syscon's Understand portion that will be due next week. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and do the screen share. And let me pull up in the screen share. Let's see. Pull up the document that I'll be using in class to talk about what's due. So this is uploaded, and I don't know that you guys can see this. Let's see. Hi, Tim.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? Can you see the document?
Yeah, I can. The marketing plan outline.
Yes, awesome. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that you guys saw this and paid attention to it. It is uploaded like this, color-coded, in Learning Hub. Hi, Hannah. And what you guys will be turning in tonight is the yellow. So company description, and I talked about this a little bit last week, but I've had several students call me or stop by the office with more questions. So what you guys are wanting to turn in tonight is, I was trying to calculate with one group that stopped by my office today, and your goal is the entire document will be somewhere between 15 and 20 pages. So company description, competition, marketing strategy, just the part on mission and objectives. I would think that you're looking at maybe about 3 to 4 pages to cover that. And in the long run, that might be too much. So I don't know. It's hard to gauge. It depends on how you guys go about it. So the suggestion I gave to the group that came by my office this afternoon is on the company description, they know their own history. So the only thing that you need to include there is basically who started the company and when, and then a discussion of how the two divisions evolved and how he is handing over the business to his children. So you could probably effectively do that in about a half a page, double-spaced, right? My suggestion on the competition is that you do an industry-wide SWOT analysis for each industry. So you could end up with a page each on that, because what you're trying to identify is what is it about Syscon that is vulnerable, and what is about Syscon that will become their competitive advantage. And because they have two distinct industries, you may end up with, you know, just do that SWOT analysis table, 4 squares for one industry, the same thing on the others, and then add a paragraph narrative to each. And it should be about all you need. You'll see that the actual SWOT analysis is due next week, but you may need to address that now in order to talk about the competition. It's up to you how you go about giving that detail. So you may decide just to talk about the two industries in general and then add the SWOT analysis for next week. Up to you guys. And then marketing strategy. The mission is in that folder. So you're going to simply state the mission. You don't change it any. And then you're going to talk about the marketing objectives of this plan, which is really a rebranding focus. They want to know, if you've watched those presentations, those recordings, they want to know, now that they're unifying Spencer's and PlantStar under one umbrella and really wanting to make a mark with Syscon as a brand, how are they going to do that effectively? Okay, so your marketing objectives are going to be around that communication strategy as the company rebrands. And that should be all that you need for this week. For next week, then, you are completing the situational and industry analysis. So you do want to look at, and keep in mind, because they have such distinct two industries, you're going to need to look at each industry separately and then unify it under the brand each time. Okay. As far as the market summary, you'll really need to look at it separately. So portion A, separate. Portion B, SWOT analysis, 2 industries. Competition, 2 industries. D, product offering, 2 industries. For E and F, now you're unified under one brand. What are the keys to success? What is going to make Syscon stand out, regardless of industry? And what are some critical issues? So what are some of the things that they really need to pay attention to be able to build that unified brand? Okay. So that covers the 2 weeks of work that you will be doing. Keep in mind, if you glance down through part 3, the plan, then you're looking at the target market, the positioning, the marketing tactics, okay? As far as pricing is concerned, it's going to be very vague because they're not giving us detailed pricing. But you can describe the product, the distribution. They gave us information on that. And then focus in on communication. And as far as marketing research, what are some gaps in your knowledge that they would need to go after, okay, to do a better job? Financial objectives for C. They're talking about sensors, oh, I'd have to go back and listen to it again. Sensors is wanting to almost double in this next year, okay? Or double by the time that they are up and running. So if I remember correctly, they talked about maybe a 25% growth for 2017 and 100% growth, in other words, doubling in 2018. So that can be included under your financial objectives. PlantStar, on the other hand, once they have their software updated, because right now it still looks really old software, the look. So they're updating the look, they're updating their capabilities, their machines. And once they have that, they think they can double, triple, quadruple their business in about a 5-year span.
So it will be dependent on what we have to watch their presentation, right?
Yes, you do need to watch those presentations.
Okay.
The 2 presentations are one on each industry, and you really need that information to be able to do this project. Okay. So make sure that you do go back and watch that. And you may need to watch it a couple times. I've gone back, you know, when I've posted it, I went back and looked at portions of it again, just to have it fresh in my mind. But if you keep in mind that there's 2 distinct industries, you'll be a lot better off in the analysis. Questions on the plan?
In the mission, do we include their core values or just the statement?
At this point, I would say just their mission statement.
Okay.
When you come down to the communication and the strategy, you will probably want to weave those values into the communication. When you talk about their keys to success, you might want to be able to mention those. So, you know, I might go as far as, I would suggest you could do the mission and then these are their values and just list the values.
Yeah, that's what I started. That's what I did.
Not the statements that go with them. I don't
Okay.
think you need those statements repeated. It's just going to eat up space.
Okay.
But those values will become critical in how you see their positioning, their communication, how do they stand out, right? Because they're making the statement that their competitors are lacking in some of those areas. And even if their competitors are not lacking, how do they communicate it will be that recipe that will make them stand out.
Okay.
Yeah, so tonight in class, I'm going to talk about the 2 chapters. I'm going to give an example of calculating the lifetime value of a customer, and I'll upload that. I downloaded a sample about Starbucks, and then we're going to do I'm going to have the group work on a grocery store example, and I'll upload the worksheet that they're going to do, just so you guys can see it, but I will post one of their samples, because they'll do it, they'll turn it in, and I will post one of those samples so you can do that. And the gist of it is, gone are the days that we just think of a customer walking in the door and walking out. The marketer is much more concerned with how happy are they, do they stay happy, and how long can you keep them coming back to the store. So another example I'll probably end up using in class tonight is the auto industry. So in the life cycle of an adult, how many cars does someone actually purchase? Well, on one extreme, you have the people who buy a car and drive it until it dies. On the other extreme, you have people who change out their cars every 2 years. So somewhere in between, what is that average? And if we say, you know, in your lifetime, you're going to go through, chances are you're going to be single, you're going to be married. So we usually calculate purchasing of cars as a family or as a couple. And we look at how many cars would a couple buy in their lifetime. So over a 30-year time frame, people are, well, it's longer, because you're going to be buying cars for probably about 50 years of your life, okay? And so in the process of buying 50 cars, or 50 years, and let's say you buy a car every 5 years, that's 10 cars. What's the average amount of money people spend on a car? And then what is the profit margin? And that profit margin times 10 cars is the value of one customer or one family. And so when a marketer starts to understand that, it becomes crucial that they put in place systems to communicate with their customers, systems to gather data from their customers, systems to ensure that the customer is always happy, because you want to keep that retention rate as high as possible. So I'll be talking about that a lot more this evening, and giving a number of examples. So whatever examples that I go through in class, I'll upload those. The PowerPoints are already uploaded. And then the lecture itself I'll upload later on. So that's what I had planned to discuss with you guys. So was
I was in like with the today's assignment, the business philosophy. I was not thinking beyond the mission statement and vision of the company. So I was just wondering if we have to go beyond that, or just.
Yes, you see this marketing plan outline on the screen. You should be looking at the part 1, business philosophy, the parts that are in yellow here.
Okay, okay.
And then for next week, you should be looking at the parts that are in green.
Okay.
Okay. So the company description, competition, marketing strategy, the mission, and the marketing objectives. And I would say you're looking at probably about 3 pages double space. It could be 4 pages. It's not that much. You can see that, you know, next week is a lot longer, and then the next 2 weeks are a lot longer, and then the final week, implementation and control, is much shorter.
Okay.
And this section on financials, they're not giving us financials, so there's not going to be much that we can do in that area.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'll probably just delete that so it doesn't sit there and confuse people.
I'm assuming that, like, as we add to the plan, we'll want to refine what we originally submitted.
Yes, I will read it and give you guys feedback, and then you would incorporate that feedback. But at the same time, as you go through and add more sections, you'll most likely want to go back and adjust things.
Because there will be some redundancy, or maybe you'll want to refine what you said in a certain section, something like that. So it's like a working draft for the next, it's not like we're locking in a...
No, yeah, I built it in such a way that you guys have the opportunity to refine it and revise it along the way.
Okay.
And it gives me an opportunity to give you incremental input rather than you being surprised at the end when I tell you that the plan wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want that surprise at the end. So I built it in with pieces being turned in so I can give you that consistent feedback. And then even at the end, when I turn in, when you guys turn in part 4, you know, then you're turning in, you're pulling it all together and turning in the whole plan. Let's say that at that stage, I grade the whole thing and you get a B- and you're not happy with a B-. You guys can make the changes and I'll give you one more chance to resubmit.
Okay, thank you.
And that second submission then would be your final grade. And then I wanted to check with you guys. We'll have the opportunity to do this, but be thinking about this since there are 4 groups that will be putting a plan together. Syscon will look at this and say, we really liked this part and that part and that part. And then I'll be looking for 3 or 4 students who would want to take all 4 plans and combine them into a final document for Syscon. And that would count as part 2. And then if you're not involved in that rewrite, part 2 for you would be writing your own marketing plan, if you want to do that, or writing a research paper. So I will be giving you guys the first option on revising the Syscon and combining the 4 plans. If, you know, part of you guys want to do that. If not, I will offer it to students in the classroom. So keep that in mind. By February 14, when you're turning in part 3, I will really want an answer, because if you guys, you know, during this talk, if you guys don't want it, then on the 14th in class, I will offer it to a group in class, just so that I have that nailed down with them, with someone. Because Syscon has requested that we do that.
Okay.
But then, you know, I mean, there are people who are taking the class who've told me they really want to write a marketing plan for one person has an uncle who is starting a business and he wants to write a plan for that. Someone else is actually starting their own business or wants to start their own business, so they wanted to explore their own marketing plan. And I have a 3rd student who really wants to publish, so he's doing a research, because in his field he has to publish a journal article. So he's going to focus on that. So that second part of the semester has some options built in. And the way I've designed it, it's about equal amount of hours of work. You're just getting the opportunity to focus on whatever area you find is best. Okay. Any other questions?
So before we submit the final, you will give us one more chance to revise and to add some inputs, right?
Yes.
Like feedback. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hannah?
I had a question about submission. If one of us submits for our group, is that fine, or do we all have to submit a version?
One person submits, I just apply the grade in every box.
Okay.
Yeah. It will say overdue if you're not the one that submitted it. Don't worry about it, because when I go through and grade, that will disappear. So yeah, one submission is fine.
Okay. And then in terms of like does the aesthetic value of the plan matter?
In the end, it does.
Okay.
What you turn in, the final combined document needs to be a business presentation. So at that point, yes, aesthetic value is important.
But in the interim, we can just have like a working draft as long as our headers and whatever. Yes. Okay, that's kind of what I thought.
And then if you keep in mind that if you use sources from online, that you should have a table, a reference section, and you should give credit. Like for example, I don't know. Let's say that under competition, you find an industry quote that really summarizes that industry. If you use that and it's someone else's words, you want to say got it and then put the appendix or put the references at the end.
Okay.
Just so that we're covered. Nobody can come back to us and say, well, you copied this from the internet or whatever. Okay. And I don't foresee that you'll have that much of that, but there might be a few places where, like, let's say next week, market trends. You could quote an industry leader. That would be very appropriate. But if you do that, make sure you give credit.
Does citation style matter, or?
I prefer APA.
Yeah.
So, and I think pretty much across the board in the MBA program, we're using APA.
Yeah, I've used APA before. Sometimes in documents like this that I've never written a marketing plan, but in documents that we prepare for government and stuff, they don't have as rigorous a citation style. That's kind of why I asked.
Exactly. And if you guys decide at the end that having those references is a little awkward, you could use footnotes because you're not going to have that many. Yeah. I just did a competitive study for a client, and I actually used some charts from an industry analysis. And so when I used those charts, I just put a footer that explained the source and gave the link right there. And so it was like more of 5 or 6 lines explaining the source because the client was going to want to see it right there. This client, as long as we give acknowledgement somewhere, they're going to be fine with it.
Okay.
Anything else?
And what about maybe it's ahead of time, but the presentation, do we have to make as online students, how does it go with our presentation?
I'm trying to figure that out. It might be because you guys are all spread out. You might want to assign one person to present, and I would give them presenter status, and they would present, and then anybody else who is live at the time would give their input. And we can choose a different time that your whole group could be present, if that's more appropriate. But because of the limitations here, we could have more than one voice presenting, but I would give the presenter status to one person.
Okay.
So that one person would control the PowerPoint. And then we'll record it just like I'm recording this. And you guys would be able to share then.
Okay.
So as you guys talk to each other in a group, start thinking about, you know, the week of the 28th. Think about a time that you guys, hi Joel, a time that you guys could all meet for the presentation. And it could even be a Sunday if that works better. I would say a Friday afternoon, but with all the time zones, we could run into Sabbath. So a Sunday and evening, and even if it's later in the evening for some, I'm fine with that. Okay. I do teach Tuesday nights until 9:30, and Monday and Wednesday night till 6:30 p.m. So. I see you guys over on my screen here, and the camera is over there, so I didn't move the camera today. Usually I have the camera right beside my screen.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm looking to the side all the time. It's because I'm looking at you guys on the screen.
No, that's okay. I think I indicated in an email. I live in Trinidad.
Uh-huh.
There are those who are on the West Coast, which is 4 hours behind me.
Correct.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Those on Eastern Time, Canada, and so on, they're just 1 hour behind. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, no, this is what now is. I am saying 10 after 6.
Yeah, it's kind of early for Hannah, right?
Yeah, I know.
You're still at work, Hannah?
Yeah, I just take an hour out of my day.
Yeah.
My employer is pretty chill about it, so.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why I'm suggesting, you know, if we did the presentation during an evening, for you, it might be in the Caribbean, it might be 10 p.m. when we do the presentation.
If it's 10,
you know, but you guys talk to each other and decide what's going to work best. And I'll just go with whatever you guys, you know, give me a couple options and I'll put it into my schedule.
Okay. If it's got to be one evening at 6 o'clock, it can't be later than 6 because it will go way past my midnight.
6 o'clock on
EST?
Western time, right?
6 o'clock Eastern time.
Well, 6 o'clock Eastern time, Hannah is still in the middle of her workday.
Yeah, but
Right.
don't ever worry about me. I'm okay. I have
Yeah.
a really flexible job.
Okay.
6 Eastern would be 7 for you, Joel?
Yeah.
Yes, 6 Eastern will be 7 for me.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because US and Canada roll back 1 hour.
Yeah.
for
And
the
I think
winter.
our other members are EST, right? Like Chuck
I think so.
Yeah. Carla, is Carla?
I think Carla is.
Wasn't there also another BC person?
I don't think so. I don't know. Is there a West Coast person in our group?
Where
I
is
think
Aziz?
there are 2 West Coast people.
Oh, there are. Okay.
I think Aziz is in the West Coast.
East Coast. I mean, not far from Andrews.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 3 who are close to. Yeah, Heather is in British Columbia.
Heather?
Okay.
But she's not in our, is she in our
That's
group?
right. She's not in your group.
Yeah. So we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Heather?
Mm-hmm.
What's her last name?
Kaylor?
Kaylor. Heather Kaylor. I'm going to look her up. I might know who she is.
But yeah, she's not working with your group.
But she lives in British Columbia?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, if we do a 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. here, Eastern, then
That is like 3 for Hannah.
it would have to be late. Well, on Thursdays I can do 6 p.m. or Sunday. But on Monday and Wednesday, I get out of class at 6:30. And on Tuesdays, I'm teaching from 6:30 to 9:30. So if it's 7 p.m. here, which is 8 for you,
I'm good with that. I'm worried about Hannah.
Oh no, I'm okay.
So anyway, you guys will need to discuss that and then propose a couple times to me. And I'll pull my schedule up and make sure that I can fit it in, that I get it scheduled. So we'll be fine.
When is this presentation supposed to take place?
The week of February 28th.
The week of February 28th.
Yeah.
Okay, from the 23rd to the 1st of February, I will not be reachable. I'll be out of town, and where I'm going doesn't have any internet connections.
From what day to what day?
From the 23rd of February to the 1st. I'm getting back on the 1st of March.
Okay.
So it could be the 1st, the afternoon of the 1st. That's fine with me.
But we don't need everybody here to present, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Like we could just schedule around Joel's schedule, like say, okay, you do something, do the week of February 14, and then you're done, or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can work around that.
Okay, if that's okay, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
I'm interested in working on the final plan, like for SysCon, the amalgamation of plans.
Okay, that would be great.
And I think Tim.
Yeah, I'd be interested as well.
Tim as well? Okay. We'll see if one or two other people want to join you in pulling that together.
I didn't get out what Hannah was saying, please.
I was explaining that once all the presentations are done, there's 4 different groups.
Okay.
And the second part of your course will be to either write a research paper or your own marketing plan. And SysCon has asked that a group of students pull all 4 plans into one. And like they may say, we want this part, this part, this part, and I need someone, up to 4 people who will rehash that into the best plan possible. Okay, so I was offering it to the online group first.
I'm interested.
Okay.
I'm interested as well.
Okay.
Lock us in.
There you go. We've got the 4. We've got the 4 people.
Hey Timothy, how you going, man?
What's that?
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Okay, all right. How's Dad?
Pardon me?
How is Dad?
Oh, he's doing well. He's,
Okay, give him my regards, please.
yeah, I will do. I'll let him know when he gets back.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Dr. Fisher, what's going on here? I used to work in Canada with his dad, at the Ontario Conference Office. So I know him well.
You have connections. Very good. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording and